Well, guys, I am so sorry for Metroid fans because it has been a rough night. As we've gone over reports of the Switch 2 and its immaculate sales over the course of the last 7 months, and not to mention, a lot of its software did pretty good, some of it kind of shaky, and specifically the one or at least two games that looked the shakiest were Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment and Metroid Prime 4, because there's been no data for these games, which means that none of them individually, at least for the Switch 1 or Switch 2, have sold over 1 million units. Now, it's probably safe to say combined from both Switch 1 and Switch 2, it sold over 1 million, but that's just not good. Of course, this is just a shot in the gut for Metroid fans, including myself, and it's kind of a mixed bag for me individually, simply because I did not like Metroid Prime 4, but I am a big fan of the Metroid Prime trilogy. I love all three of the first games, and the fourth one just did not resonate with me. It did not feel like a Metroid Prime follow-up. A lot of the times didn't even feel like a Metroid game. It felt like it was its own thing. And I've talked to you guys for a while about how I felt about this game, but this game, just from start to finish, was just an absolute train wreck, man. I mean, we're hearing reports almost every week. Something new comes out about the development of this game. We just got an interview where Retro, like, they had to pick up the pieces from Bandai Namco, the original developers of this game, before they, were sent away and brought back Retro. And then Retro pretty much was making something out of, an already existing slop that existed. And they pretty much had to craft this game from what the blueprint already was. So they really couldn't make it from the ground up the way they wanted to. Plus, Nintendo was at the helm with a lot of the creative decisions. And yeah, this just wasn't the game that Retro Studios probably would have gave us if they were the true developers behind the thing from, day one. So yeah, this thing, grew and multiplied into this mess that we got with Metroid Prime 4, with, lots of issues with the open world desert that a lot of people hate, the NPCs that ruined the isolation, which wasn't a big thing for me. It was mostly the layout and structure of the game, the fact that almost every world was nothing but linear, straight hallways, an extreme lack of puzzles, where it felt like most of the time I was going from terminal to terminal, just scanning things and pressing buttons and opening doors.
And open doors.
But regardless of how you felt about this game, maybe you didn't like it as much as I did, and I wasn't even one of the ones that hated it, you know what I mean? Like, I thought it was kind of bad in a lot of areas, and I was very, very mixed on this thing. In some ways, I just didn't like it, but I didn't hate the game. It did have some redeeming qualities, the graphics, the music. Some of the worlds were not too bad. Like, I felt like a lot of the game was really special the way it started, and it kind of petered off for me. Some of the late game boss battles are pretty decent as well, but yeah, there's some redeeming qualities about it. I am not a full-fledged hater of this game and think it's absolutely irredeemable the way some people do, but even with that said, I don't think this was the major problem of the game. The game could have been even worse, and I think it still would have sold even better than it did if the marketing was just better. This is something I've been complaining about since day one of this game being shown off. It's just, it had no marketing behind it. When they finally revealed the thing after its long reveal back in 2017, I believe it was, they did it in such a melancholy way. It was just like, here's Metroid. You're going to be walking around this planet and, pressing buttons and opening doors. It was just like, what you're watching is actually the first real trailer we've gotten of the game. After all of this time, this is how they introduced the game. It was just like, what? Oh, okay, yep, this is Metroid Prime. Oh, yep, she's scanning things. Like, it was so strange. It was like, for the fourth game of the franchise, being a Switch 1 and Switch 2 title, and after how long we've waited, this is how you want to show off this game to the world? Like, as a Metroid fan, this didn't even really get me excited. Something Nintendo is normally known for is their snappy trailers, their big, exciting reveals of Mario popping out of manhole covers and running around all these different crazy landscapes to make you say, whoa. Remember when we saw Odyssey's reveal and seeing Mario immediately start running around a New York-inspired city? Like, that is the type of stuff that got everybody's attention instantly. It made you realize immediately that this is going to be a different style of 3D Mario than we've ever played before. This is a completely new era of Mario here. And even with the trailers for Breath of the Wild, they may have all started slow, panning over the world very slowly and showing you where you'd be and where you'll go, and Link just traversing the landscape. But for one, this is massively different because it's showing Nintendo's really first open world world game and the first open world Zelda ever. So people didn't mind the slow cinematic shots of the world because it was exciting. And then they jumped straight into the fast-paced combat, showing all this crazy stuff scene after scene. It just looked so wild and insane, and immediately everybody was hyped for the game. Metroid Prime 4 never had a moment like this once. It took them about 2 months until the game came out just to show something relatively cool, and it was another quick, like, 15-second trailer of Samus driving in an open-world desert on a bike with nothing in sight. This is what got people worried in the first place. I think out of every bit of marketing that we got from the game, this 28-second clip that I'm showing you right now was like the highest peak of the advertisement of the gameplay and stuff of this game. Like the only thing that I've seen out of all the marketing that genuinely made the game look interesting. And I remember we were all just waiting on them to do something with this game. At the time, we were expecting like a Metroid Prime 4 Direct or something, and we were getting like multiple Sakurai Presents for Kirby Air Riders, like multiple of them. And I remember everybody being so mad online, and then everybody telling Metroid fans to just be patient. You guys are so insufferable. All you guys want is news, news, news. You're so impatient. That's because Nintendo gave the spotlight to almost every game that was revealed for Switch 2, and they all had their like private times to shine and stuff. And Metroid Prime 4 never really got that. The closest thing we got of its own like special showcase or anything was an overview trailer, literally about weeks before the game came out. There was just no marketing behind this thing, and it was so bad. Like, I have not seen a game from Nintendo in so long that was so poorly advertised. I honestly think Nintendo knew this game was going to be kind of a dumpster fire online, and they knew that people were going to be dogging on this game, that there was a lot of issues and problems with development stuff and all that stuff, and they just probably gave up on the thing. I'm genuinely wondering if they just gave up on this and said, we've been dealing with this game for far too long now, we're tired of it, let's just get it out, you know, we know it's not going to do well, let's throw it at the very end of the year in December, let's just see how it does. That's kind of what I'm thinking happened, because there's just no effort poured behind this thing. Could you imagine if they announced the next 3D Mario game and they're just like, you know, here's a trailer of Mario walking around some grass, and then they end it and they don't show you anything else again until 2 months before the game comes out? It would be the dumbest thing ever. So the question is Metroid doomed now because of this? Well, it's not a good sign. I mean, this is probably the best time, better than ever, to release a new Metroid Prime game. I mean, at the end of your Switch 1 lifecycle and the beginning of your Switch 2, and the games are available on both, and they're still not making an appearance on the sales charts, is just not good. It's just plainly not good. And I do wonder if there is going to even be a future for Metroid Prime after this. It does make me wonder, unless maybe they just say, let's try this one more time, and, you know, let's let Retro do everything. But do they want to waste the time and resources and stuff if this game isn't even going to be performing well? Well, it might just be time to stick with 2D Metroid for a while. We know Mercury Steam has been killing it with 2D Metroid, where Metroid Dread grew to be the best-selling game in the franchise and one of the best reviewed. I mean, like, Metroid Dread is an extremely good game, and a lot of people want to see what's next from that company and that studio. So yeah, I think 2D Metroid might just be the way for now, and personally, it might be a better idea for Nintendo just to move on to, you know, if they do 3D Metroid again, something along the lines of Other M, but obviously not Other M, just something that's a third person, you know, third point of view of Samus running around a world where she can shoot and fire, and, you know, just something like Other M's formula on paper, but obviously not what they ended up doing with Samus's character and some of the world design and the motion controls. Obviously, a modern day take on Other M would be a lot better anyways, but something like that might be where they want to start thinking. Something that can show intense combat and quick moment-to-moment gameplay. I think that's another problem, is just the moment-to-moment gameplay of Metroid Prime 4 and its trailer and stuff. Nothing looked exciting. Samus is barely moving around. She's doing nothing but scanning everything, and that's kind of what Metroid Prime's always been. It's never been this high-stakes, super fast, engaging game the way Metroid Dread was, or even Other M. So it might be their best bet to start moving forward with another type of genre of game. I don't know. It might be time just to say, you know, we got our Metroid Prime games. They were great while they lasted. It's time to move on to something new and something different. And I'll be completely honest with you, it's a bittersweet feeling for me, because I'm not somebody that's going to go tell people to go buy a game just to preserve a franchise, even if the game is bad. It was kind of hard for me to go out and praise and recommend people go out and buy Metroid Prime 4. It just didn't sit right with me to say that, because I just didn't feel too satisfied with the game and my experience. So I just kind of said it wasn't worth it for me, you know? And after seeing these sales, I'm kind of not glad that it did this. I obviously want Metroid Prime to continue, but the right way. But I'm also kind of glad that Nintendo's being humbled by this, because you can't rush something like this. This is not something that should have sold extremely well, and it would have maybe even scared me if it did, simply due to the fact that Nintendo can just put up whatever and get extremely good sales for it without even trying their hardest and trying to match the other games in the franchise. Because what if Prime 4 did sell extremely well, and it gave Nintendo the, kind of mindset of, hey, let's continue down the path that we've already started with a new trilogy, and they all play like Prime 4. I don't know how I would have felt about that. Yeah, but all around, this just sucks. There's no other way to put it. It's just not fun. It sucks to see a series like Metroid go through something like this, because it deserves the absolute best. It's a franchise that I've always really wanted to grow into something as big as Kirby, Donkey Kong, Splatoon, and eventually reach even the greats of like Mario, Pokemon, Animal Crossing, Smash Brothers. But of course, I knew it was going to take a while for that to happen, and it looks like it might take even longer now. But time will tell what's next for Samus. Hopefully just another really good 2D game from Mercury Steam, which could be coming sooner than later. But you know what? We're just going to have to wait and see. But what do you think about this news? How does this make you feel as a Metroid fan, or even a Metroid Prime fan? Are you kind of low-key glad that the game didn't perform as well to give Nintendo the wrong idea? Or are you kind of sad that it performed so bad, because we may not be getting another Metroid Prime game? It's a bittersweet feeling, like I said, but let me know what you think down below, and make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Metroid and Nintendo in general. And I hope you all have a blessed day. See you guys.